Welcome, welcome. Uh, so welcome, welcome. I so appreciate everyone giving those anniversary well wishes. And in honor of my 10-year anniversary, I wanted to just share some tips and things that helped me not only stay in budget for our wedding, but also how to not lose it while you're planning something that's supposed to be a celebration. It's supposed to be a start. And I truly think so. I like watching wedding shows, and somebody mentioned in the comments on the video that the picture that I put up advertising for this stream, the fact that the way that they planned was just, hey, don't do a wedding at all. And that worked for them. And I think that is absolutely phenomenal. Let me start off with the fact that I'm Dr. Patrice Berry. I'm a licensed psychologist, and here I share educational resources on a variety of topics. Today, we're talking wedding budgets, and I'm sharing just some tips that helped me along the way. I appreciate you all being here. Christina dropped by and said good morning and also happy anniversary. Thank you. Thank you. If you are joining live, just let me know where you're joining from. I am here in Virginia and it is unseasonably warm, or maybe I don't. Virginia's weather can be weird, but even this morning it was very warm. And looking at planning a wedding and looking at planning these dates, what you can do is you can look at the time of year. So we did ours in October, which was a lot cheaper than having it in June. Sometimes places they will mark up certain times of the year, and June through I think August. Sometimes that tends to be a time, and then sometimes December can also be a time that gets marked up as well. So looking at the time of year, and then also picking what things work for you and what things don't. So for some people, they will, so for us, we chose to do an afternoon celebration where we didn't do alcohol. So we saved a lot of money by not having that. Like alcohol can be a big part of the budget. Food is a big part of the budget. And working with our venue, something that we did was we asked what their cheapest option was, and they were able to give that. Because sometimes what can happen is you can ask, so whatever's advertised, if they do have certain packages, like they'll have a diamond package and a platinum package. Some places that do have their numbers out there and they're available, sometimes they will have packages that won't be included. And for their base price, we were able to have a plated meal that we had past hors d'oeuvres. Like we were able to get a lot for that, more reasonable price, but they weren't marketing that package. That was something that we had to ask for. They were going to try to offer a more expensive package because that works for them. And so then when you look at the guest list, that was one of the hardest parts, I think, because I am a very social person, if y'all haven't noticed. And but I knew that everyone I wanted to come, like I had really had to narrow it down to who really needed to be there. And we did our ceremony and our reception at the same location, because some people have an open ceremony where anybody can come to the ceremony, and then the reception is invite only. And what we did was just, because it was at the same location, the reception and the ceremony, we just did invite only for the wedding period. And my husband had a very big family. I had a very big family, and narrowing all of that down, like we still ended up inviting a lot of people. And there were still a lot of people that I wanted to invite, but it just didn't fit. And so having those boundaries around, and nobody came to me directly and was like, why wasn't I invited? Nobody said that. I'm sure some people were disappointed. And as a person, as I've gotten older and older, I've been more comfortable with people. I might do something that someone might not be happy with, but it was the best thing for me. And so truly being comfortable with the fact that everyone might not be happy. We also, something that we did is people that were not currently dating someone, so, we didn't do where people were bringing a plus one unless they reached out and like, "Hey, I have someone I wanna bring, can I bring them?" Because that also helped us keep our number lower, and, then you get into seating arrangements, and that's not about budget, but that can get a little bit like, "Ooh, so who sits where?" Because we did have, I think, name ca did we do name cards? I think I'm almost positive that we did do a seating table. Yes, we did. We did a seating charts. That part can be a little stressful of who sits where, how do you manage those things? That can really bring up a lot. The one thing that I'm really excited to share is the dress. So, I had a beautiful dress that I found at a consignment shop. So it was a I searched. I've always been a bit of a bargain shopper anyway, and I saw this dress and absolutely fell in love with it. And I want to say I got the dress and the veil all for under $150, and then I believe alterations was I think it was under 200. But the alterations, so she added a bustle, and I'll show you a picture of the bustle a little bit later, but this came with this phenomenal beading, and the dress was actually too small. And so she added these white panels. There were these panels on the side, and I don't like the the seamstress was phenomenal because I did not think that she could make this dress fit. So what happened, the consignment shop was across the street from the seamstress, so they knew there was a tailor. Because I tried on the dress, I absolutely loved it, but it was way too small. And I mean, like ribs, like it was just like there was no way that this dress was ever gonna work. And so they let me take the dress over to her to see could she do it. And she did. She said yes, she could do it. We made it happen, and that was phenomenal. So that was the dress. My photographer was phenomenal. And the thing that I'll share about photography, thank you, Christina. I absolutely loved it. I absolutely love that dress. I have it in a box. I don't have a picture of that to share, but I don't know if it was David's Bridal was offering a deal on that, but I took it someplace where they sealed it and it's in a box. It's in the basement, but it's in a box. um, with the photographer, there was a local celebrity photographer that I loved, and I knew that he had done someone else's wedding, and what I did was I reached out. I just wanted to know the number. I wanted to know, could this work with the budget? The numbers that I got back, oh no, the numbers were way too high. That was definitely not going to work. And so, but I still replied. I was like, "Thank you so much. I absolutely love his work. Unfortunately, that's out of our budget, but I really do appreciate your time." And the lady, she ended up getting back to me and she said, "Well, he has an apprentice that does weddings on the side. So as long as it doesn't conflict with a wedding that we have booked, his apprentice." And the apprentice takes pictures for this like phenomenal celebrity photographer, but was a fraction of the cost. And I was in a situation where I was able to, I know, say yes to the dress. So those dresses on Say Yes to the Dress are expensive. So the budget for Say Yes to the Dress normally starts about 1,200, I think. Um, I did try on a lot of I didn't say yes to the very first dress. So I asked the consignment shop to put it on hold, and they held it for, I think we put some money down or something. We did something for them to hold the dress. And I did go because that same weekend there was a sample sale at a local bridal shop. I went there. I went to there was like a breast cancer awareness sale. There was like a special thing where all the proceeds went to breast cancer research. And so I tried that out, but ultimately it was like, I know, Christina. But I really, because most people that saw the dress that day, they would have been like, oh no, they probably thought that was a $2,000, $3,000 dress. And it wasn't. It was a small fraction of that cost. And so um the open seating, I just let people go in, sit where they want, do what they want. I agree. For some reason, we did do the seating chart. I don't know why, but we did. But we were able because we had groups of friends. So, like, I put all my college friends together. I put my grad school friends together, and so my husband had his like family. Like we ended up. That's what we did. We did do a seating chart. It was, and it truly was, and people have to find the perfect thing for them, and because often people can get into comparing and, "Oh, like this or that." I was 31 because 'cause I'm 41, and it was 10 years ago, and, so I tried some, like, and it truly is when you know. So I put on that dress, and no other dress beat it out, and so I did go back, and we ended up getting that one. Let me share my screen again, make that a little bit bigger because there are all these little things that can add up, like shoes, wedding shoes. So my mom and I think we were shopping. I don't even remember where we were shopping, but it was another consignment shop. Found these shoes. They worked. They had been gently used. This was my wedding jewelry. So the headband and the bracelet. So back in the day, there was this jewelry store and it was like costume jewelry. What was that store? Pizzazz. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Mm, it was like in a mall. And I think some of the other like, costume jewelry places ended up putting this one out of business, but, like, I ended up spending very little on the bracelet and the headband, and then the earrings were borrowed from my mom, so those were my mom's earrings. That's my dad. Um, I think I mentioned recently, like, when people are like, "Oh, you look just like your mom," I'm like, You're like, wait until you see my dad." Me and my dad look a lot alike. That is my mom and my dad. Somebody recently mentioned, they were like, "How do you look? Like, you still look so young. How do you look the same?" And it's like, so in this picture, my mom is 55 years old. Yes, because she's 65 or 66 now. And so, good genes. I don't know what to tell you. Mama looks absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And this was me with my flower girl. So the flower girl dress. So what I did with the bridal party is so sometimes people get the bridal party, they end up getting presents for the bridal party. So instead of doing presents for our bridal party, we purchased their items. So we purchased the dress for the flower girl. And then my bridesmaids and the groomsmen, maid of honor, matron of honor, we purchased that for them instead of doing the like a gift, like a gift for them. And you're talking about Claire's, so it wasn't Claire's, it was another place. It started with a P. I wanna say it started with a P. I can't remember the name of it. Y'all know me and I always forget names of things, but it wasn't Claire's. It was something else. Um, and thank you, Christina. So I Me and my mom, we have such a similar personality, and then I look I look a lot like my dad. My husband and I kind of resemble each other, so people are always like, "Oh," so people don't know. People say our son looks like me, looks like my husband. I think, he definitely comparing baby pictures, he looks like my husband, and then, but he is 100%, he's a lot of my personality. So this was a set. I believe I got that on Amazon. And then our decorator had all of these little accents that were included. So we didn't pay extra for it. Our decorator, like, he brought all of these extra things. So we paid for the flowers, but then he did all of those other things. The flowers were that was a big part of the budget. It was important for me t for and, a friend of mine, I went to her wedding and absolutely loved her flowers, and I asked her, and I think she had it listed on her program, who did all of her, like, I think she had her vendors listed as, like, a thank you, and I did the same thing for mine where I listed the vendors, and, she ended up so I ended up, like, and she was okay with me reaching out to the person that did hers. And so the florist, he was absolutely phenomenal. I will also add that I did a lot of things myself. So, I'm a very picky person. I like things to be a certain way, and I didn't need a wedding planner. I did have a day of planner. So, a day of planner is a person that plans out, that helps you. So, like, the day of the wedding, I didn't I she was she made sure everything was the way it was supposed to be. She was the one that was making sure the DJ and all of that, like, so I had a day of planner, and so that was a lot cheaper than having a wedding planner, and I like planning events, I like planning things, I'm pretty good at it, and so I did a lot of things myself. I printed the invitations myself. I priced it having somebody else print them versus printing them myself. I'm 99 point yes, I printed those myself, and then I also printed the programs myself as well, which did save some. And I was looking for a picture and I couldn't find it because my best friend and I, we took a trip to Myrtle Beach, and during part of the trip, we were up, stuffing my wedding invitations late one night, but that was a whole thing. Um, and so that's just another picture. And then that's my best friend right there. Um, and for the party, we ended up making sure that they so I let my bridal party pick the style of dress that fit their body best, and but it was just the same color and the same material. So that was that. Ah, you're trying to find Christina was still trying to find the store's name. Pizzazz a thing? Like, it started with a P. So it was a jewelry store closed. They had, accessories, started with a P. Oh my gosh. Charming Charlie's. It didn't start with a P. It was Charming Charlie's. Christina, we're good now. It was Charming Charlie's. So that's where I ended up getting that stuff. I think they end up going out of business because I think Pizzazz might be the one, or there's some place that they sell the jewelry themselves. But yes, Charming Charlie's. That's where I got that stuff from. Um, and let's see. So this is my dad, my stepmom, my mom, my husband, and my in-laws. This is the back of the dress. The back of the dress was just absolutely gorgeous. And once again, our photographer did a phenomenal job. Okay, so let's talk about the cake. So how much cake is too much cake? How much cake? So I gave my husband different options, and I showed him a few different cakes, including this one. So, Christina, I didn't remember the name of the place, I looked it up. So, I looked up jewelry store that closed, and it had and Charming Charlie's, I saw it. So that's how I found that. So, with the cake, Um, Sometimes you pick the size of the cake based on the number of guests. That cake was just gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous. That's what I wanted, and that is all cake. So guests, it's my understanding because we left. So the reception, because there was a certain time, I was just tired. I just wanted to go. Like weddings are exhausting, especially as the bride. You wake up so early for hair and makeup, and by whatever, I don't know if it was like 1 p.m. I don't know, but by towards the end of everything, I was just so tired, and so it's my understanding that people took home boxes of cake, like, people just had just there was cake for days, and so, but it was a local baker. She did a phenomenal job, and it was reasonable, like, her prices were great, and she was a family friend, and it was absolutely delicious. Still one of the best cakes I think I've ever tasted. And, the glasses, that set came from All Things Remembered? Is that a thing? Is that a place? Is it in the mall? I think that's what it's called. But yeah, so we ended up getting that set. Okay, I'll tell y'all a little secret. So, it's not a big secret. Lots of people know. So, our we separated our legal marriage and our celebration, because a lot of people get so hung up on the wedding that they just I don't know, like they really get hung up on these things. And to me, it really the wedding is like it's a party for your friends and family. And I look back at the pictures and they're great, but really our marriage started before this date. And, because before I went down the aisle, my wedding planner, and I think I have a picture of her, the day of coordinator. I think I have a picture of her in this slideshow, but she was like, "You are so relaxed," 'cause we were already married, like, it's like it wasn't a big deal. The date that we celebrate is the one in October, but, and for me, because I did change my name professionally. So, as a psychologist, I could have stayed my maiden name professionally and legally taken on my husband's name, or I could have chosen to not, because that's a thing, some people don't take on their partner's name. I grew up with a different name from my mom. My mom's last name is different from mine. She ended up changing it after, her divorce from my dad, and so I knew what it was like growing up with a mom that had a different last name, and so it was just important. If I ever did have a kid, I just wanted us to have the same last name. And so, my goal for the honeymoon was to fly with my married name. So we had everything done before. And then the funny thing was the person that booked the travel, they accidentally didn't, and it was okay, but like they booked it in my maiden name, which so we did all that and it didn't happen, but that's fine. And so, I really enjoyed, and it was listening to other people's stories. So I knew some other friends that had done the same thing, and they just talked about that they were actually able to be present for their wedding day versus everything kind of being all jumbled. So, the people that married us for the ceremony, they also married us, during our private ceremony. So we just had a private, I think I wore like a $10, I don't know, like I did my makeup, like it wasn't a big deal. That one, but that was the start of our actual marriage. And so, um that's how we did it. Everybody makes their choices and decisions. Sometimes you decide like what traditions are really important to you and what things aren't. And I think each person gets to make those decisions. You won't make everyone happy. You just won't. And truly just making sure that you're happy with everything. Another picture. So the funny thing was the cake, the way the cake was, it kind of matched the design of my dress, which was accidental, but I thought it was really cool. And so, I paid a little extra, so at to have it engraved. Um, that was from Amazon. It was a program. I like the little poem on it. Oh, for our guest book, we ended up, using our engagement photos as part of for our guest book. So I went to Shutterfly, and this isn't none of this is sponsored. I'm just saying all these things, talking about these things because they were important. And so because I've seen other people's guest books and I wanted it to have some pictures, some things that were important to us. People write like really cool, awesome things in it. I did the same thing for my baby shower, guest book as well. I used my maternity pictures, I believe. Yes, I'm almost positive. Did I? Yeah, I'm almost positive that's what I No, it wasn't maternity photos. It was our family photos. And then added in some guest book pages, and that's what I did for that. These are things I did that were important to me. And so, just another picture of the awesome cake. The flowers were gorgeous. And, our florist, he didn't charge extra. So, like, he just charged for the flowers, setup, and breakdown, and then he included all of the extra. So he brought 'cause he was I do you think I'm particular? He was very, very particular. And so he wanted the charger, like, he wanted the table to kinda look a certain way. He showed us his vision, and I was like, "Yes, that's absolutely gorgeous." And we did that. And so then another picture of the dress. So this was the bustle. So, because the dress had a train, and I think she did a 3-point. Yes, it was definitely a 3-point bustle. Just amazing. That's, Lakeisha. That's the, amazing baker that did the cake and us cutting it. And then my day of coordinator, who was absolutely phenomenal. She has a debutante program now in Hampton, Virginia, which is really cool. And then the photographer, he just had this eye for things. So for some people, the videography is really important to them. For some people, the photos. So for me, the picture. So I didn't have a videographer. I don't have a wedding video. That wasn't really important to me. I wouldn't really watch it back. But the photos were important. And so we invested into the photography versus looking at getting a videographer. And so that's where everybody just picks. Do what works for you. Because some people would say, like, oh, you'll regret not, and I don't. So I'm not a big, I'll tell y'all, I don't like, so I go to weddings are fine. The ceremonies are boring. Can any like, the ceremonies, oh my gosh. I went to a Catholic wedding is like a mass. It was so long, and I was so hungry. If you ever go to a Catholic wedding, eat before, like, eat a meal, 'cause I was so I needed a snack, and I did not have a snack, and I was so hungry, and so, um, it's a whole thing. I didn't really need to look back at a video, but the pictures were that's what was important to me, and so we did that. And my makeup person, I have her tagged, in the video, Ebony Capri. She is phenomenal. She did my and she was a family friend. And, uh, and then for the DJ, I it was another friend that, he taught Chicago style stepping, and we had danced in different, like, dance studios and things, and he had started his own group, and he agreed to do it for us. The limo. So I didn't care about having a limo. And so a family member, like, it was really important to them, so they paid for it. But if it was up to me, like, we wouldn't have had a limo because I didn't care. Um, and then that was just another really cool shot that the photographer got, like, and I was so tired by the end, just absolutely done. We took a nap. That's what we took the limo ride back to the hotel and took a nap because it was just such a long day. Somebody said it earlier, it was so exhausting, and yes. And so, my main things, I think you have to prioritize what's important to you. I think you have to set boundaries. You might do some things yourself if you're able to. So I'm a creative person. I like making things. I like doing things. Now, one thing I didn't do, I forgot to mention this. I did do like chair covers, but I paid to have them put them on the chairs because I didn't. So I paid for them to put them up and take them down. I didn't want to do that to my friends. I didn't do a bridal party shower party thing. My best friend was out of state, and it was gonna be, like, a lot of work. My sister was out of state, and I didn't care. I really didn't. Those aren't thing I did do a baby shower, like, when we did that later, but I didn't do a bridal shower because 'cause you're already gonna have the wedding. So, I just I didn't, because often being in a wedding can be really expensive. And, I just, and I've been in other people's weddings, and sometimes it was their family or their friends, 'cause sometimes, like, it can be expensive to be in a bridal party, and that's where, like so we paid for their dresses or their tuxes. If they needed alterations, then they paid for any alterations that were needed, but, it was an honor to have everyone that was in it be in it, and just to share and celebrate with our family and friends. Because to me, a wedding is just the start because you wanna make a lasting marriage, and I've watched some wedding shows and been like, "Ooh," like, just the way that people are talking to each other, the way that they're not compromising on anything. I left that part out. So, our florist, he had these amazing crystal, like, these candelabras that had this bling on it, and it was absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely adored it. I showed it to my husband, and he was like, "I don't like it." And I was like and so I went back to my florist and I was like, "We love everything. Can we get a different option for the candelabra?" And he was like and so he gave us another option. It was gorgeous. And so I do think that how people communicate to one another during the process, that, I didn't think that this was my day. Now the bride is kinda like the center of attention or like the person, like, but, I valued my partner's input and what was important to him, what he wanted to include, what he didn't want to include. Those things were all very important. Ah, oh, good. Hello, Swanky. Welcome, welcome. I always said I'd cover my bridal party's costs. Yes, and so instead of giving, so you sometimes you give a gift. So like I've sometimes received like jewelry or like because I've been in a few weddings. I never liked the dress. Okay, so that's why oh wait, for one of them, I did. For one of my good friend's weddings, the dress was I don't think I have it anymore though, but I did like the dress. I wanted them to pick the style. So a lot of the other weddings I had been in, every body shape was in the exact same dress, and I like that they got to pick what they liked. And then the funny thing that I did, so um they walk down the aisle in order of, like, decreasing modesty, I don't know how to so, like, one person had, like, a halter, one person had, like, stringy straps, one person had, like, a one-sided, and then my best friend had strapless, and it just so happened to work out that way, like, I was like But I that was funny in my own mind because I knew it was like, "Ooh, we're gonna do it in decreasing modesty," because I'm strange and little things entertain me that other people might not even notice. So that's what happens when I go to a wedding. Like, I'll be like, "Ooh," I notice little things and yeah, and so, it was fun. I had a good time. Um I didn't think that, like, this was gonna be the best day of my life, or I don't know, like, I think sometimes people put too much pressure on it. Was it a good day? Yes. Was it a great day? Yes. Do I remember it? Yes. Um, but it was I was tired. I was so, so, so tired. You can't put all brides you can't say all American brides are wild, just the ones that they, like, put on TV, okay? But, so I didn't have a lot of anxiety. I truly think us already legally being married, I think that helped take a lot of the pressure off of everything of, like, we had already we were already living together and, like, all the big stuff had already been done. This was just a party with our friends. And, thank y'all so much for joining. Thank y'all for engaging and asking questions. If y'all have other questions, please let me know. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.